Welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. Last week I mentioned that our veggie planter boxes needed some work, that they had gone to seed and were a little bit crazy. So after a couple of hot days at the start of the week, the forecast was for some rain and cooler weather, so I thought that would be the perfect time to get in and fix up those boxes. I trimmed back the rocket and the coriander and just left a little bit of both of those to go to seed, as well as the dill, and sort of just cleaned up that whole veggie patch, and I'm going to leave that pretty much as is. The other patch though, I've basically ripped everything out that was in there except for the curry plant. The spinach had gone completely crazy, and to be honest, we weren't really eating a lot. We ate some, but not enough to justify having a couple of bushes in there, so that's come out completely. The peas were great. Some of the peas had dried up and were dropped down into the bottom of the bed, so I've left those in there in the hopes that perhaps some of them will take and we'll get some brand new pea plants, perhaps quite a few. I took out the spring onion and the pak choi that I had experimented with. All of the plants that I pulled out of the garden I gave to the goats as a treat, so nothing went to waste, and they were extremely happy to be able to eat all of the greens that we were pulling out of the garden. So then the bed was ready for new plantings. I made an appointment and I went to a local lady who sells from her home but also does markets, but obviously at the moment there is no markets. So she had a wide variety of tomatoes and other veggies, which was really great. She grows them from seed that she saves from her previous year's plants, so she knows that they work in this area, which is really important to make sure that everything is hopefully going to work and grow properly. I chose a couple of different varieties of tomatoes, some for eating and some for making sauces, and I also chose some pumpkin and some zucchini, and they are now all planted into that one garden bed, and hopefully they will do really well. I just have to remember on the super hot days to give them a water, because they are in a box, so they will dry out if we're not careful. I also bought some marigolds as good companion planting around the veggies, and I also planted a whole lot of flowering plants that my mum had grown from cuttings that she bought up last weekend that will start to fill out the garden. It's by no means a full garden yet. It'll take some time to develop, and I've sort of just randomly planted these lavenders and other bits and pieces to sort of start to create a cottage-ish garden feel. And I'll see how these things go, and then I need to mulch around them and just start to add and move things and sort of create a bit of a cute little look out the front that will keep the weeds down, will provide flowers for the bees and moths, and that will then promote the growing of the veggie patch as well. So I'm a little bit stiff today. There was quite a bit of bending and digging and pulling, but it was definitely worthwhile doing, and I'm really pleased that it's ready to go for summer. My only hope now is that the rabbits, deer and kangaroo don't eat it all or dig it up. So already this morning when I walked in, there were a couple of the flowering plants that have sort of been pushed aside or dug out. Not eaten so much, I don't think, so hopefully I can just pop it back in and it should be okay. But it'll be a little while before I can be certain. Once plants are established, they seem to be okay, but in the beginning, I think especially the rabbits, they tend to start feasting on anything new that they see. And we had a little bit of fun this week too. With the easing of the restrictions, we were able to have Mum and Dad up at the farm for Melbourne Cup Day. So we had dress-ups, a sweep, some lovely food platters, and a fun centerpiece for the table that I made out of Lego, and we just had a nice day together, which it's been a while, so it was nice to catch up and to spend time. This past week, Passion Flower celebrated a milestone. My little business turned 5. So it started out as a hobby business in 2015, just to try and express my creativity while I was working a busy office job. Has turned into what it is today, and it's still building. And with the building of the shed, I'm hoping that there will be a lot of new and exciting things coming in the future. It was nice to sort of reflect and look back a little bit. A thank you to everyone who has supported Passion Flower to this point, and I'm excited to see what the future holds. Last week I was all about the Rio Kalina cow. I had done quite a lot of work on it, and I was almost up to putting in the second ball, which was my hand spun. And I decided to be lazy and just continue knitting all the way until I finished the first ball, and then started knitting with the hand spun. And I shouldn't have done that, and I knew before I did it that I probably wasn't going to be happy with how it looked, but the line was just too stark. And I think too, where I started with the hand spun ball was like a brownish sort of colour. It didn't have any of the light blues or pinks or purples in it, so it really didn't blend that well. So I ripped back, well actually I tinked back, I literally unknit to make sure that I got the cables back in the right spots for 4 rows, and then I re-knit it with the new colour in. So you can sort of see the stripes. It's coming up much more obvious on the camera than it actually is in person. And now I'm just into the hand spun, only just. So I think my enthusiasm kind of waned once I got back onto here, because I felt like I'd done a lot of work for really not much reward. So I probably will get back onto doing this again soon, but it just needed to take a little break. And what do I knit when I need to not think? I knit socks, of course. So I'm back on to the pink and grey stripes that I have a mountain of still. And in 2 days, I finished sock number 1 for my tiny little feet. And I've cast on, already increased, and I'm about halfway through the foot of the second. So for me, it's nice to pop these on and sort of not think for a little bit, get a project done, and then I'll go back to focusing on something else. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.